Hello and welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping or wholesaling houses, or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. Sorry, no light today. I know my light looks bad. I didn't put the light on. It's been a crazy day. So, question we're dealing with today is: does a house have to pass inspection to be sold? It's an interesting question. Let's talk about what different inspections this can mean and what it really means for it to be sold. Like, what does that even mean? If you're selling a house, a standard seller to buyer transaction in New York, the buyer is probably going to do an inspection. Now, it's not necessary, and you can not allow him to do that. But most of the time in New York, and this is different than all other states, in New York, the inspection gets done before the contract. So after you agree on a price, the inspection gets done. So we just had a property where we agreed on a price, and they're doing an inspection today, I think, or Monday, and hopefully we'll be in contract on it shortly. That would be great. Now, does it have to pass inspection? There is no pass-fail on the inspection. Inspectors are almost always going to come up with something wrong with the house. So I have gut renovated to the studs houses and had inspectors come and rip the thing to shreds. That's obviously very upsetting, right? Because I did good work. Sorry, let me just shut that off. So it can happen. Also, I've had houses where they were crap and the inspector didn't come up with much. But the inspector has to come up with something. An inspector will never come up with nothing and say, hey, house perfect. Because an inspector feels that he is going to be responsible if something comes up later. I've also had houses that were so bad, an inspector came in and just walked out and said, I'm not inspecting it. So there's no pass-fail on a standard residential inspection. But there are other things that people call inspections. So there are appraisals. Now, if I'm selling a house for X dollars, selling a house for $500,000, an appraiser is going to come and they're going to look at that house and they're going to decide whether it's worth $500,000 or not. Now, in that case, I guess it has to pass that it has to be for the same amount of money that you're buying it for. But I've had situations where I was selling for the top of the market and the inspection came in less than the purchase price, and the guy still bought it. Now, it really depends on the financing. So, typical example, guy's buying a house for $500,000. He's going to put 20% down, which is $100,000. He's going to borrow $400,000. The appraisal comes in for $450,000, let's say. So, he doesn't want to pay mortgage insurance. You have to pay mortgage insurance, MI, anytime you borrow more than 80%. So, what the lender says is, hey, we're always going to take the less of the purchase price or the appraised value. So now the value we're assigning it is $450,000. So you were only going to lend you, let's do the math, 450 times 0.8, $360,000, which means you have to come up with the difference. You have to come up with the extra $40,000 plus the $100,000. You were going to come up with $100,000, now you have to come up with $140,000 if you don't want to pay mortgage insurance. Some people have that money and they don't care. Some people are not going to give you problems. And some people are going to come back to you and say, I want a price reduction. That's happened. All these situations have happened to me. So in that case, there's sort of a pass-fail. Now, there are certain lending channels, such as FHA. So just to give you a primer of what FHA is. FHA stands for Federal Housing Authority. They don't make loans. They actually insure loans. So your loan will come from all the regular lenders, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, whatever it is. But an FHA loan means a few things. It means you could put as little down as 3.5%. They'll lend you 96.5%. But they're going to do a more detailed inspection, and they may make you make repairs, right? I've had situations where they've, on an FHA appraisal, where they've said you have to put railings up, smoke detectors, all kinds of things. And then you have to either do it. Sometimes the buyer will do it. I've had situations where the buyer said, I don't care, I'll do it. Or otherwise, they're not getting their FHA loan. That is another inspection sort of appraisal situation that goes on where but there is no pass inspection, right? Inspectors are always going to come up with a whole list of things. Now, one big piece of advice I can give you is don't ever accept an actual appraisal report when someone says, hey, can you make these repairs? Because the appraisers use incredibly vague, pain in the ass language. So they'll say something like, well, roof observed to have a effective life of less than 5 years. What the hell does that mean? Does that mean you want me to replace the roof? Because if you want me to replace the roof, tell me I want to replace the roof. You need to be very, very specific when you sign a contract in New York about what repairs you're agreeing to. I let them go, a kitchen sink appears to be leaking. What the hell does that mean? I say it's not leaking. You say it appears to be. I say it's not. So you got to have. I always send this back. I tell my attorneys, do not accept that. They'll send you an inspection report and they'll circle things on it. I'm like, tell them to shove it up their ass. If they want certain repairs, put it in English, right? In language. Because I was foolish. In the first couple of years, I did things like that, and they would circle the repairs, and then we would agree to it, and then we get to the closing, they go, well, you didn't repair that, and I go, I did, and they go, no, you needed to replace that, and I'm like, I don't need to replace that, I just need to repair it, and you can't have any ambiguity when it comes to these things. So I would say, be very clear, simple language. Don't tell me repair outlets aren't working. Tell me exactly which outlets in exactly which room, and tell me that you need them to be working, and I will make sure those outlets are working. Right? You can't be vague, and there's a lot of ambiguity when it comes to standard inspection reports. So there is no pass fail, right? At least if I've never seen one where it says pass or fail, right? I can't imagine what that would be. But it's always a negotiation. So no matter how bad the inspection report comes in, it's simply a negotiation. So that buyer can then say, well, the inspection report says, this needs $30,000 worth of work. Lower the price by 30 or I'm not buying it. And you as a seller can say, drop dead. Or you can say, give me a line item and I'll do some of it, but I won't do others. Or you can say, I'll do everything, right? Usually you end up in the middle. Right, so I usually make people give me a line item in English of everything they want, and then I'll choose the ones that make sense to do. Right, if there's a safety issue, obviously I'm going to take care of it. If it's something that I screwed up, I'm going to take care of it. But people will ask for a lot of things. Let's do a new oil tank, and I'm like, the oil tank's fine. I'm not replacing that. Or boilers, the guy says the boiler's only going to last another 15 years. I'm like, well, that's a long time. I'm not replacing it. It's fine. And guess what? It might last 50 years. And no matter what he said, it might last less. So you have to make common sense, take common sense approach when you're selling a property. And as a buyer, I can tell you that it's very easy to be scared by an inspection report because the inspector's job is to list all kinds of crap. That's his job, right? His job is not to write how great the house is. Okay, I have seen beautiful, beautiful houses and inspection reports on them where the guy nitpicked on the stupidest things. I'm talking about grout may appear loose. Like stupid things like that because the guy felt he had to put something on there. So it's always a negotiation when you're a seller. It's always a negotiation when you're a buyer. So I know people, scumbags, right? There are scumbags in my area. I try and stay away from them. Some are realtors, some are mortgage brokers who will tell a buyer, listen, offer high on this price and don't worry, we'll get it back to you on the inspection, right? So I had a guy offered $20,000 more than asking on a property. House was pretty good. And came up with things like there's a roof leak. Now I had replaced the roof and I had painted everything. And I think he saw 2 knots in some piece of wood trim on the ceiling. And he goes, well, it must be a leak. And he goes, I want a $20,000 reduction. And I'm like, drop dead. And I sold it to somebody else for more than that eventually. So there is no pass fail when it comes to inspections. It's not like you got a big P or an F, or a grade. The inspector is going to give you a line item on all the things that he thinks may be an issue eventually, and is going to give his opinion on it. Sometimes they're actually going to give you an actual. I'm saying actual. Sometimes they're going to give you repair estimates on it. Right? I just got an inspection somewhere else where they actually gave me repair estimates. That's good. So I would say the important thing here is to understand that it's always a negotiation. That no matter where the inspection comes in. As a buyer, you can walk away in New York, or if you're in other states during the inspection period. And as a seller, you can say no. Right? I know sellers that were screaming, "Oh, what if he asked me to do all these things?" I'm like, you could just say no. That's all, and he may still want to buy. I've certainly seen repair requests where I knew that a lot of them were fluff and bullshit because they just wanted me to agree to some of them, and I've seen them where they were asking for things that were ridiculously, infinitesimally small, just not important. So it's a negotiation. It's always a negotiation. I would not worry about it. It happens. If you're selling to an investor, there's no inspection. I don't do an inspection, so you don't have to worry about it. But that's the way it works when you're selling. So I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in all the ways I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're interested in finding out more about, what am I finding out more about? A course I have that teaches how to do what I do, go to howtoflipnewyorkcourse.com. And if you're interested in finding out more about one-on-one coaching I offer, go to coaching.howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any channel, please click the thumbs up. And what else? Oh, please keep the comments coming. I post 5 times a week. I don't always know what to say. You can ask any question. Doesn't even have to be about the video you're watching. If it's a simple answer, I'll just reply with an answer. If it's something I've covered before, I'll send you a link to the video. And if it's something new, I will do a new video on it. So thank you very, very much for watching.